Hey guys, and welcome back to EJ Sport RC. So today we are going to do an install of the new Awesomatix FSS steering servo mounting system. So I have no instructions. You're going to go through it same as I am, so I'll try and figure this out for both of us. So in the package you get the servo mount and then the center post mount. The cool thing about this is the belt slides in to this little channel. So you can now change the front belt without having to take your steering assembly apart. That's pretty cool. And then it also comes with this little nut with flat spots on it. You got this little pivot post here that then threads into that goes into that slot. And then this little screw here that holds the center point arm onto the whole assembly. So I am going to go through installing this and then I'm not sure if I'm going to do a two-part video, but then I do want to do a setup of the new servo that I'm going to put in and just kind of see what it did to the Ackerman, see what it does to your toe, and just bolting it in to see what it changes, because it does move the servo up roughly 5 to 6 millimeters, which poses another problem for people that are using the 5 or 6 millimeter spacer here. So I'm gonna have to take that off and not use any spacer underneath the ball stud. So we're gonna go through all of that. And like I said, I have not fitted anything, so you're gonna go through this the same as I am. So let's get started. And I have taken some of the stock assembly loose and apart. Nothing new there for you guys. We've taken that out. And one thing I learned when I loosened these, or had to take the screws out of the stock mount, so obviously these straddle the belt. So your stock mount is here and here, and on your new one, it's going to be here and here. So your belt's gonna slide in just like that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so we got the old assembly out of the car, and I went ahead and installed the links on the center points. And now we will hook the center point up to the mount, and then we will also put the servo onto the mount, then we'll get her into the car. Now I did try and test fit these little guys here, and I will say this little nut can be kind of fiddly trying to get it into this little slot. So you just kind of have to play with it a little bit. Yeah, it really does not want to go very easily into that. That little nut's got flat spots on multiple sides of it, so you'd think it would want to just go to its home, but it does not. Oh, there we got it. So now you will take 2 millimeter Allen and you put it in that post, and I will put a little dab of Loctite on that. Not gonna go crazy with it. So then put your finger underneath there, hold that in place, start the post. All right, now the post is in there. You've got the nut in the slot. Now the slot, this is pretty cool. So this is how you adjust your Ackerman. That's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna kind of put it in the middle for now. And then your center post slides over that guy. And then you take this little screw, and the one thing I don't like about this little screw is you have to use a 1.5 driver to hold it in, which I guess if this never comes loose, you don't take it out a lot, that's fine, but you're going to be loosening that to change, you know, the angle of the center point. I wish that was a 2mm driver. It's not a make or break thing, but actually, I'm wrong. There we go. That's not so bad, but you're still taking this in and out quite a bit. So now to adjust your center point, you've got two things to do. You got to take that little screw out, then loosen the post, which probably shouldn't have put Loctite on there, but anyway, it at least it won't back out easily. Yeah, we'll just snug it all up. Yeah, I don't know, you know, with experience with running this, we're going to figure out whether Loctite was a good or a bad idea on that. And I didn't put much on there, so even if it's just, it makes it slightly harder to loosen up for you to adjust the center point, that's fine. There's not enough Loctite on there to get anywhere on the slide, so it's not going to hurt that. So we'll see if that was a good or bad idea in the future. And installing the servo, so I was using the BS Works spacer here that he makes two different ones, and you use this center hole, and he makes one that's 16.5 high and then a 17.5 high. Well, since this servo is going forward, I have to take this off, and I'm using the Sagami servo saver, which is an aluminum version of the X-Ray. Well, the X-Ray, the bottom hole is 16.5. The top hole is 19. I usually run 17.5, so I don't want to go all the way up to 19. I will probably try that because I like trying stuff to just see what it does. But for now, I'm changing so many things at once. I don't want to make the car really on the nose or hard to drive, so I'm going to start it out on the 16.5. So let's get this mounted in here. There we go. And I usually don't use Loctite on these because I have never had one of these come loose. I just cinch them up. So that looks okay. Now let's see how this fits in the car. I like the fact you're not going to have to take this out to change belts. That's pretty cool. So we're going to need some mounting screws. I am really curious of what this is going to do to the geometry though, being moved that much farther forward. So yeah, my old servo, the front of the servo was even with this cutout, and now it's way farther forward. The center point doesn't look to be that much more drastic as far as being pushed forward. So then you just put everything back into place, bump toe shims, and I'm assuming, you know what happens when you assume, I'm assuming that we're using the same holes that we were using with the old servo mount. When I'm setting this car up for the track, I don't think I'm going to change anything else as far as geometry wise. I'm going to try and get it as close as it was to when the car came off the track, but it's already going to have an Ackerman change of roughly about a millimeter and a half, I believe. Okay. So that is installed with the linkage from the old system. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be okay because this is now parallel, like it was with the old mount. All right, install was pretty basic, I guess. Yeah, the only question is, do you put Loctite on the bottom nut or not? I don't know. A little bit's probably not going to hurt. I can't really see it hurting anything other than when you go to loosen that post, it might just be a little tight. See, there's an issue. I didn't tighten the post down enough. Now the post is loose and it came off. So, yeah, I would probably put Loctite on that. Okay, to fix the problem that I just had, so what I'm going to do is I actually put Loctite in the nut itself, because you don't want to put Loctite on that thread and then get it on the flat spot that actually has to pivot. So we will do it that way. So to me, you need to have this post a fair amount tighter than you're going to put this little screw in that holds the center point arm on. Because if you tighten that down, it loosens that post and then it all comes apart. So I don't think I'm going to put that in real tight until this Loctite has a chance to set a little bit. But yeah, that was interesting to figure that one out. And really, finger tight on most of this stuff is going to be okay, and you shouldn't have that problem. Get the center point back in here. Now, I did tighten that post down more than I did the first time, and I could have just had it way too loose. But I am not going to tighten this little screw down until I know that Loctite has set. Let's put this guy back in here. All right. Let's try this again. I do think, just like with any Awesomatix part, either a stock assembly or an option part, you kind of have to figure it out first, because really the guy designing this is a lot smarter than I am, or that a lot of us are, but it's pretty trick stuff. I'll give him that. All right. So that is back in. Wasn't too bad, other than having to figure out, you know, the post and the little screw, but everything went together pretty well. I will be back with another video on the setup. And thanks again for watching, guys. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. For future content, subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. And again, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.